Oh, hey guys, it's me, Kevin Tinkin, once again saying, hey, go to YouTube, go to Patreon, go to EddiePepitone.com. You can support this podcast, and we would really appreciate it. And if you love it, you're going to get some more. And now let's get into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the sun is setting, the world is turning, the dogs are barking, the ladies are swooning, and he's here, and he's crooning, and I ain't fooling. It's Eddie Pepitone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. And that's right, we are back in the park. And Kev, it is beautiful tonight.
It's a lovely day here in the park. I can't believe we're so lucky to be out here amongst this beauty. And you really add to it, Eddie. You're like another floral arrangement or a tree in the park.
Well, I think we all have our beauty, Kev. So don't sell yourself short. I think we all are part of God's tapestry, if you will. Well, we're all part of a crazy quilt, and in the quilt, each one of us, each of us are unique. Yes, I'm very handsome. Yes, I have a lot to offer this world. And yes, I'm trying to give out a vibe of coquettishness.
Ooh, I like that.
I mean, come on. When you're out in the outdoors in LA in the summer and the sun, this is golden hour, and I try to be a bit of a coquette. It's just in the air. Like it's a come hither look I will throw to a jogger, like that gentleman right there.
Oh, yeah. Great form.
He is shirtless, which annoys me.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any need to be shirtless,
He's really rubbing it in for the rest of us.
Yeah, he's very toned, and it doesn't sit well with me.
No. And it shouldn't. It absolutely shouldn't. Hey, you remember those quilts that you'd have to make back in the day, and each square of the quilt would be like from an old T-shirt of a 5K you ran in the 70s, and then like a family reunion is one square,
like
and then
just a whole thing about your life.
Yeah. Do you think you could you have one of those quilts that you could put together? Like, what would that look like? If you had the different squares of a Pepitone quilt.
Well, the early boxes would be me hiding from my dad. You know what I mean? Like me, like just kind of like you would see me like looking out through a door nervously, and that would take up a good part of the quilt early.
Very dark, like keyholes with a beam of light coming through, just looking at a glossy
like Norman Rockwell meets Vincent Price type of thing.
Oh, I like
horror movie type thing. And then me begging for my mother's attention and not receiving it. That would be part of the quilt. But then the quilt would get better.
A woman facing away.
A woman facing away. And then I think one of the big montages would be me discovering marijuana. At 14, I started smoking marijuana, and that would be a big, quilt thing.
Yeah. Who was what was the first time? Do you remember it?
Ooh, the first time I smoked pot?
Yeah.
Well, man, when I first started smoking, I was so young. By the way, I look at 14-year-olds now.
Yes.
In a van, usually. But I look at 14-year-olds, and I'm like, oh, my God, they're so young.
Yes.
I don't think I should have been smoking. That's too young.
Yeah,
and my
probably.
a shrink of mine from years ago, I've had many shrinks, and if there are any shrinks watching, I implore you, please leave an email.
Yeah.
Let me know your availability.
Are you accepting new clients?
Yeah. So anyway, I look at the kids at that age, and I shouldn't have been smoking. What age did you start?
33, I think.
Oh my God, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever did it. I was
33. What?
I was
doing it 19 years ahead of you.
Yeah.
Which is what that fucked me up, though. That really did. I don't recommend it. That really did. It put a dent in my growth.
Yeah.
My mental growth. I can never do math.
Really? And you think that's the weed? That's
I
probably
think
the
so.
weed. Yeah.
I mean, I was always a creative fella, and I'm
Right.
sure everybody really sees that now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
By the way, I'll be at the Comedy Store tonight, folks. No, but I want to say that I'll be in Kansas City.
Yes, this is good.
From my road trip with Chris Gethard and my buddy Kendall. What's it? Kendall Tinsdale. I always fuck up his name. Great kid who's been opening for me and Chris Gethard.
Yeah.
On the road, Kansas City, St. Louis, Ferndale, Michigan, Chicago, Cudahy, Wisconsin, which is right next to Milwaukee, Chicago, Cleveland, Ferndale, Michigan, like a lot of cities. I'll be out there the 13th through the 19th. Go to eddiepepitone.com, and you could see someone right in front of you who started smoking weed at the age of 14 years old. And one of the biggest things you said, one of the big things I remember was, I don't know if you've ever seen these things, but I discovered bongs at a very early time in my.
Oh, I've seen them.
No, but the bong had a surgical mask fucking tied to it. And, I would suck in, with the surgical mask, and I think that, that's why my mathematical skills.
Oh, yeah. Well, you were on the path of being an engineer. And I remember you told me you were building bridges at the age of 10.
At 9, I was doing calculations to build a rocket. And then at 15, after I started smoking, I couldn't, if, you had 6 apples and 3 were taken, I was, the movie Taken had not come out yet with Neeson. Right?
Yes.
If the Liam Neeson movie Taken would have come out, I would have been able morally. See, this is also related to.
Oh, this is all weed related.
Well, I mean, it has a cumulative effect, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of doctors ask me, when did you? Are you? I'm not smoking now. Again, I'm off it for the last couple of weeks, which is good.
Yeah, I'm about 3 hours sober.
You're 3 hours?
About 3 hours sober right now.
But you didn't start till you're 33.
It's true. I think that probably adds to my level of responsibility at this age, where I have less of it, because I was so good for so long, and now I got to have a little bit of freedom. I don't know. I also can recognize bad things are just bad, but I'm also like, right. I don't know. I held on. I was such a good boy for so long that now I want to go a little wild. Dude, I didn't even tell you about my trip to Sacramento.
Tell
this
me.
weekend. Well, the part of the bad boy thing, so I didn't do it, but I almost did cocaine.
Oh, wow.
And I shouldn't say I almost did, but
well,
a guy was there, it was offered to me, and I was like, no.
Right. Was he in a van?
No, see that was the real deal breaker for me, because I've always said the first time I wanted it in a van from a man I've never met before.
Yeah,
and this guy.
Well, I would think that cocaine these days is extremely dangerous because of fentanyl.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I did cocaine. I had a period where I did cocaine, and I hated it. Luckily, because I have an addictive personality, and it didn't do much for me. I would black out. I would have these weird, like, white blackout. It's just weird.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's scary. I don't like it.
I didn't like it.
I don't want that potential. So I think we're probably safe,
I can't believe people are still doing it in large quantities. As a matter of fact, Hurricane Debbie washed up a whole shitload of cocaine. I don't know if you read
Really?
that. That was a news item, where all this cocaine got washed up. And we have it's a Southwest plane, folks, Southwest. They're doing away with assigned seating because they can make more money.
Dude, I literally just flew on a Southwest where it was like that, and it was so annoying because I got to pick. I was one of the late boarding people, and so then I had to basically walk back and forth. I finally found an aisle seat, but
you did find an
aisle
aisle
seat. Thank God.
Did you have carry on?
Yeah. That's all I do is I just keep a backpack. Unless I'm gone for like more than 2 weeks, I can usually do just like a backpack.
You could do it for like 12 days, huh?
Oh, yeah.
10 days with just a backpack?
Mm-hmm.
What do you put in there? What's your go-to thing?
So
underwear?
The big ones are underwear and socks and toiletries. And then I usually will have like...
How many?
Shirts that I have probably a couple of repeats. So I probably have like 7 pairs of, 7 shirts, 2 pairs of pants. That's about it. I mean, I'm a real slob out there,
No, you have to pack light.
Yeah.
I remember reading something in the travel section of the New York Times, and that's not to brag. I have this kind of lifestyle. I have a full subscription, and the guy who was their travel guy was like, pack fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And I always
nice.
Overpack, and it's mainly what I overpack mostly are tins of Spam, because I always worry about getting, with the climate breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
I worry about getting stranded with no food. So I bring so much Spam.
Yep. Non-perishables.
And I get stopped at airports and stuff, and they're like, "Sir, is this Spam?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "That's rude. It jams up people's inboxes." And I'm like, "No. It is Spam. It is, Spam, physical Spam."
Yeah. Hawaii.
This one TSA agent thought it was actual, Spam. Inbox spam.
Dude, this guy had a gotcha moment with me. He goes, he takes my bag and he goes, oh, what is this? And he pulls out a can of Pepsi Zero, and he's like, "Thought you could get away with this one, huh, pal?" And I was like, "Oh."
How does he know you don't have explosives in there?
Who knows?
Was there liquid?
Yeah. And he goes, "Do you want to chug it, or do you want me to just toss it?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can just toss it." He's like, "Okay."
Right.
But yeah, and then I was like, "You can have it if you want." He's like, "No, we got to pour it out and throw it." I was like, "Okay, my bad."
You can have it.
I'm like, "Go nuts."
Oh, it was unopened?
Oh yeah, unopened Pepsi Zero.
Yeah.
And I'm real generous with the TSA, when I can be, and I don't get to be generous that often, with my financial life and whatnot. But when a guy says, "Hey, what's this?" I go,
right.
Help yourself.
No, that's
pal.
a highly explosive Pepsi Zero. I want you to take it. But anyway, should we get started and do some bits?
I think we should get into. You were talking a little bit about anxiety, and I feel it. I even feel it in the piece of the park. The grass has a little kink in it a couple of times.
Wait, this grass is burnt.
It's burnt.
Domian pointed that out.
Yeah.
On our last one.
Well, we're trying to save water here in Los Angeles. The farmers need it. But yeah, I think we should do a guided meditation. How do you feel? And turn off the depression of your daily life on another episode of Guided Meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
All right, everybody. Oh, boy. Let's breathe. Let's breathe. A lot of people aren't even aware of their breath. They breathe. Most of us breathe so shallow, Now, the only people who should do shallow breathing are supermodels. Those people are shallow, and they can be because they're very pretty or handsome, whatever the case may be. There are male supermodels. I used to be one before I got into yoga and meditation. I was very narcissistic until I came to my breath. So what I want you to do is, instead of breathing shallow, I want you to envision your breath as as a river, and not a river that General Electric is dumping toxic waste in, not a river that Monsanto, which is now Bayer, is dumping toxic waste into. Just, your breath is a gorgeous river. There aren't very few of those left, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Colorado River is still pretty. There are, of course, needles, dead bodies, and other horrific things, but that's to be expected. Colorado isn't as great as it's meant, as it's hyped to be, especially if you've been to Denver. There are a lot of idiots in Denver. A lot of cool people too, but one thing I really noticed is there's a lot of college-age morons in Denver. And I'm not sure what that's about, but I want you to see your breath as a river, a gorgeous river, and try to put a color to it. The color I like to put to my breath is a muted eggplant, and that means that the purple in the eggplant is a little muted, and it's kind of got a pastel. And now I want you to feel your breath going in you. Feel your breath going in you as if a parasite went in you. You know when you were swimming in a polluted bay and all of a sudden you'll feel a parasite going inside one of your cavities, whether through an ear, anal, or nose, but one of your cavities, a parasite goes in. I want you to feel your breath as if it's a parasite, and not a parasite in your life like people who are mooching off you or people who constantly take money from you, and you had your heart set on a nice soft serve ice cream, but you've got to give Benjamin the money you were going to spend on this. Anyway, just see your breath as a beautiful color, and it's in you like a parasite, and breathe it in and let that breath go. Let it go into the bottom of your feet. Your feet are in desperate need of fresh breath. If you've ever sat next to an idiot on an airplane who takes their shoes off and they think, oh, I think I can, I haven't heard that this is not a bad thing to do because I live in a self-contained bubble of Moronville. There's a big planet called Moronville. So get the fresh breath, get it from your feet, have it travel up through your legs, and your legs are very in need of some fresh breath because legs, they're what attract people to us. My legs have gotten me more sex than my hand buzzer, and I know what you're thinking there. Oh, how does a hand buzzer get Eddie sex? Well, let's just say if the hand buzzer is put in the proper place, it certainly can spice up an evening, and I'm talking about a lot of boring evenings these days start with the Olympics. People are watching, the swimming competition. Get a hand buzzer and put it in an erogenous zone and see if your evening doesn't perk up. And so let that breath go through your legs and then through your navel area, your midriff, your sexual organs, and let that breath just caress all of those areas until you have an orgasm.
Thanks for joining us on another guided meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
That felt good, and that was
Yeah.
I only did the in-breath, as opposed to the out. I didn't even get to an out-breath, but
These guys have had so
once you
many
have an
out-breaths.
orgasm, once you have I said orgasm. An orgasm is what's done in Italy.
Well, that's how they say it on the East Coast.
Oh, that's it.
Hey,
Yeah.
baby, can I give you an orgasm?
Let me get. hey, sweetheart. I don't know why you're so upset with me that I lost the rent money. I just want to give you an orgasm right now.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, this lady.
Yeah.
With those ball thrower things? She put the ball in there, and I don't know if she meant to throw the ball, but she threw
I
the
hope
whole
the fucking
thing.
dog leaves it. Good. She's got to come back and get it.
Yeah.
She's giving the doggy water. I like her.
Yeah.
She's
she's a
taking
sweetie.
care of the doggy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into another bit.
I love it. I love it.
Where do you want to go from here?
I mean,
You make the call.
We haven't done. I do want to know. Like, have you seen any big news in the about celebrities lately that might need some prayer? I don't know. Have we seen?
Oh, let's do that one. We haven't
know?
done that one in a while. Okay, go ahead.
All right. And now, praying for celebrities. All right, son. The Sandman's a coming. The sun's setting, and it's time for bed.
Oh boy, another day in captivity.
Mm-hmm.
I like, Dad. I don't know if this is the Stockholm syndrome, but I do know that when someone asks me, "Where do you think you're being held?" I'm going to say, "Well, it's definitely in a flight path," and that may help them pinpoint my location.
Now, you've been watching your crime shows again, haven't you, son?
Well, I like when people get murdered, Dad.
Yeah, I know you do. It runs in the family. Well, son,
Yeah.
it's time to close our eyes and say our prayers.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
God, first of all, I want to pray for Taylor Swift because she just had 3 concerts canceled in Vienna. And, that's a lot of money out of her pocket. And, I know that she's essentially, a billionaire at this point. But guess what? These cancellations, God, were inspired by possible terrorist attacks. And I think that if terrorism is going to start affecting Taylor Swift, she may wind up homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want her to wind up homeless, God. So please make Taylor Swift concerts and them being canceled a thing of the past because she's got to buy. Oh, hello, doggy. Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hello, doggy. Hi.
How you doing?
And then, God, I want you to promise me that you're not going to let David Zaslav, the big entertainment mogul, have to sell his yacht. There's been some rumors that his gigantic yacht may be up for sale. And God, if there is a God in this world, and I'm sorry, Dad, that I'm doubting the existence of a benevolent being, but if David Zaslav loses his yacht, then I'm going to say you don't exist, God, because that's a beautiful yacht with many decks and many levels. A lot of sex goes on in that yacht.
That's right, son.
A tremendous amount of sex, just like in this cabin.
Yeah, that's right, son.
God.
I'll say I'm glad you're questioning it. If you didn't question it, it wouldn't be as valuable as it is, son. Please continue.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, right, Dad. I understand.
Yeah.
And God, please, there are so many billionaires out there who've been hit by the tragedy of the stock market. The stock market has plunged lately, and I know that some very, 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 very wealthy people have lost, well, I know it's only a fraction of their net worth, whereas people who just invested in the market, poor people who have nothing, and in my mind, they don't count, God. Even though I am one of them, poor people are fodder for the machinery of capitalism, or else it doesn't work, God. And you know I'm a believer in capitalism, right, Dad?
That's right. We're all pawns in the big
I'm a believer
system.
in the accumulation of wealth, God, and that's why I pray for celebrities. So please look after Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. You know, God, I mean, Bezos had to give away a bunch of his money to his wife, who now, I mean, I just hope they're both having incredible sex with robots at this point, because I believe that's only right.
Absolutely.
So let me just sum up, God. David Zaslav, the billionaires, Taylor Swift, and I don't know who else, Dad. Can you think of anyone who might need, who's very, very wealthy at the top tier of the capitalist food chain?
Yeah, I know Oprah's still setting up her land there in Hawaii. She required
Please
recently.
look down on Oprah, who wanted to buy houses underneath the noses of the people who live in Maui, and all she's doing is trying to take advantage of a brutal fire. I mean, I don't know why that's wrong. I mean, if you have the money, you know, and we live in a capitalist society, why do you have to not take the land that these people had? That's what our country's based on. And if we stop it, God, then who's going to watch after our system? This capitalist system depends on the absolute abject suffering of the working class, which I hope continues. Amen.
Amen. And thanks for joining us on another Praying for Celebrities.
Wow. That's the first time I heard little Timmy really kind of express what he really feels about the capitalist system.
Well, I think he's growing up. You know, he's growing up. He's starting
You know,
to...
you're always right. You have a good handle on what little Timmy does. Let's go right into another bit, I think.
Absolutely. I love this. Bits, baby.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, we wasted time up top, kind of meandering.
I get it. We could do a driving in the rain. We could also do a. I thought this might be good. You could do a toast. A toast is always fun, no matter what. You really get into a toast.
A toast. What was the toast again?
I mean, literally to anything. We also were doing a personal message, and I think we should do a personal message. Actually, I'm literally thinking about this.
We did one for Brad Von Rock.
We did one for Brad Van Rock.
The ferry entertainer.
Now Max, he shouted us out.
Max?
Yeah, Max.
What did he say?
He said he can't be the only queer listener here that it stands out. He's going to try to gather some more gay listeners because
right.
Yeah, James had mentioned that the other day.
Right. Well, you know, we cater to everybody.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm at the point in my life, and I've talked about this on stage, where I will have sex with, you know, any gender. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, why be picky?
What?
Why be picky?
Well, you can't be after a certain age.
No. Why cut your chances in half?
Right.
And that's why I always like these guys that identify as pansexual.
Pan. What is pan?
So pansexual means you can you're attracted to anything, as far as I'm aware, which I get because sometimes I drive past this park and I'll get inappropriate with it. You know, I fall in love with this thing.
I saw you fucking the park.
Oh yeah. I love national land set aside just for the enjoyment of the people that live there. You know, it turns me on.
Our top story tonight, Yellowstone Park was taken from behind by Mr. Kevin Tinkin.
I love that park. I love it. And I'll tell you, you go to that park and tell me that you're feeling
and you try not to take it from the back.
Yeah. And I'm telling you that.
Tinkin brought Yellowstone to its knees, literally, and did it doggy style. The great geyser shot up. The geyser, is that the thing?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, let's do a toast.
Let's do a toast.
To what?
So David, one of our patrons, says, speaking of Patreon support, I'm proud to be the Patreon supporter whose comments never get liked by Eddie.
Really?
I know I'm special that way.
Is that David from Louisiana, my buddy?
I don't know. I couldn't see. It didn't have a last name. It just put it on there. But I figured you could give a toast to fans of not just you, but the fans out there that never get any acknowledgement from the people they love.
Let's do that.
All right. And now, a toast to the unknown fan, the unrecognized fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to raise a glass to, and I'm sorry I'm a little inebriated, but, this is the end of a long dinner. We rented out an island here off the coast of Mali or Bali. I forgot where we are, but
Who gives a shit? We deserve it.
Exactly. And I want to raise a glass, even though I am feeling a little inebriated. I want to raise a glass to one of the greatest fans of this podcast, David. And I don't know David's last name. And,
it's like Cher. It's like Cher.
Cher.
Just one name.
That looks like American Airlines, and that's somebody on the highway. Anyway, I just want to say that, David, I want you to know that even though I've drank too much on this island, I've been thinking about all your comments, all of them, and taken as a whole, you have deserved a lot more recognition than you have gotten.
Here, here.
David, I hope this makes up for it, but I want to tell you that all your comments have kept me going. I mean, there have been dark times in my life where I have recently, found something living in my esophagus. They found it. It was a CAT scan, and they found this very small bug that is only known to certain tribes and indigenous regions. And I was about to get depressed because the doctor said, oh, well, you have about a week and a half to live. And then I thought of a comment David made one time, which was just a very beautiful comment about the podcast. And I said, Doc, I think I'm going to survive.
Here, here.
Yes. And David, I want you to know you've gotten me through the birth of my 3 daughters.
Beautiful girls.
They all turned out to be whores, and the reason why I get through the fact that they'll have sex with anybody and do it without protection, and I'm raising 35 kids now, is your comments, because when I read your comment, I don't care how many children I have to support that are illegitimate. I have David's comments, which are incredible, and they help keep me going. Now, David, I also want to say that I was in a 3-car pile-up accident on the 405 South the other day.
Here, here.
Well, anyway, a few people didn't make it out of that accident. I had to be pulled out with the jaws of life, and the firemen who pulled me out with the jaws, well, it was a joy of life. Why don't they name the jaws of life the joy of life?
Never forget.
Anyway, they pulled me out with the jaws of life, and the fireman said to me, why is your spirit so strong? And I said, you familiar with the guy, David,
on Patreon, and the fireman said, "What's his last name?" And we were like, "No, I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows." Well, I have his comments in my mind all the time, and once, I know my legs were pinned in this vehicle, but guess what? I thought of David saying something very nice and very helpful.
Keep me going.
So, David, this is for you. May you live long enough to feel slighted again by the fact that I haven't liked any of your comments, and I'm not going to like them from here on in, because I think this is more of a tribute than you deserve.
Thanks for joining us on a toast to the unknown fan, David. That was fun.
Whoa.
That was a good one. Man,
What other bit? What
the
other
sun
bit
is
should we
set.
do?
Yeah, here, look, I got David right there. It just says David. Yeah, then Jesse says, hell yeah, my love is always for sale to
Who's
you
that,
two.
Jesse?
Yeah, I had to cut back on spending lately, but this Patreon has remained as the short list of the ones to keep as long as possible. The early access and exclusive bits are great.
Ah, thank you, Jesse.
Wow.
That's really nice. That's really nice.
It is very nice.
Let's do a driving in the rain,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
right?
And as the heat rolls in, the only cool solution is another driving in the rain with Eddie Pepitone.
It was 3 a.m. and my Uber alarm went off. It wasn't my alarm to say you have an Uber ride. It was just an alarm given to me by the Uber company, and it had gone off accidentally because I had put a deviled egg on my night table next to the alarm, and the goo from the deviled egg, I never knew what the goo was in a deviled egg, but it had filtered onto the alarm, and somehow it triggered the Uber alarm that I was given as a gift by the Uber company. It had triggered it, and it went off, and now I was ready to get up early, and I went into my Uber Eats vehicle / DoorDash / Instacart / Bloodmobile / Riss / Bookmobile / Therapymobile / any mobile except a car that I could ride in. And I had an order, sure enough. Los Angeles, the city that sleeps intermittently, had sent me an order. Somebody on Uber Eats wanted an Italian sub from Jersey Mike's. And here was the kicker on that. The rain was smashing into my car. I had to get to Jersey Mike's. It was 4 a.m. and Jersey Mike's wasn't open. And the rain was battering the windows of Jersey Mike's. As a matter of fact, the rain was hitting the windows so hard that the J in Jersey Mike's looked a little like an L because of the constant hammering of the sideways rain. You know when they say shit can go sideways? Well, this rain went sideways. I didn't know where to put my umbrella. I got out of my Uber Eats vehicle and I had to make this sandwich myself because Jersey Mike's was closed, and I was delivering this sandwich to the best juggler in Cirque du Soleil. This guy was an incredible juggler, and the only thing that kept him going were Italian submarines at 4 a.m. from Jersey Mike, and we at Uber Eats had to jimmy the lock, get into Jersey Mike, slice the various Italian meats, put it on just the way he likes it, oil and vinegar, and then leave a note to the employees of Jersey Mike's apologizing that we had to break the lock and leave all these cold cuts around, and rats and all kinds of disease. A lot of Jersey Mikes had gotten shut down from this guy's deliveries. Anyway, I got out of the car. I used my Jimmy, which was just a friend of mine named Jimmy. And Jimmy was able to get in because he was a former locksmith. And he got me in there, and I started cutting the gabago. I started cupping the gubaba. I started cutting the salami and the prottedelle, the mortadello, the cabanoche, the chiparano, the cabanare, and I put it all on some sourdough, and I did the oil and vinegar, peppers, jalapenos, sweet peppers. Jimmy also made himself a nice tuna melt, and I said, don't turn on the oven because we have to leave. But Jimmy didn't heed my warning, and as we got into the car, I saw Jersey Mike's go up in flames from the oven that melted Jimmy's cheese. But that's what happens when you have to Jimmy your way into a place. Anyway, the rain was coming down. The rain was coming down like a banker coming down on a farmer who couldn't pay his loan on the corn that he got fronted him by the bank. And the bank was like, we're not in this business to be good guys. We want your ass. We want to see your family in the dirt, in the mud, crying for help. That's how hard this rain was coming down. And this juggler, he lived in downtown LA, where downtown LA was a combination of great fusion restaurants and stabbings. You could never tell which way it was going to go in downtown LA. Really nice architecture, and people getting thrown out of buildings for the insurance money. It was a tough town. Just watch LA Confidential if you don't believe me. Everything isn't a big glamorous thing. Yeah, you may see Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio, but you never seen Morty Friedman get his head bashed in on 6th Street and Broadway, outside the Regal Theater, which is where Laurel and Hardy used to perform. You never seen that, did you? And the rain kept coming. It kept coming like a porn star who had taken too much Viagra. It kept coming like a woman with a tremendous fantasy life. It kept coming like a river that flowed in the Hudson River, that flowed and flowed with the General Electric toxicity. The rain just battered my car, but I could see the juggler in downtown. He was getting beaten with the pipe, but being a juggler, he was able to juggle many things. As he was getting beaten with the pipe, he was also doing his finances and calling his girlfriend. He could juggle so many things. He had a lot of balls in the air, and he was getting beaten, and I pulled up next to him with the rain smashing my car like a wrestler on too many steroids, smashing my car like one of those big car compressors that you have to use when you have to get rid of a dead body. I mean, this rain was smashing my car like somebody who was on a meth binge and they could actually beat a car to death and they were going to serve 5 to 10 years in Joliet. Anyway, the rain came down. I pulled next to the juggler who was juggling at that moment his finances, his love life, and getting beaten to death. And I said, here's your goddamn, oh, hello, doggy. Hello. Here's your damn what did I say? He was eating the Italian sub from Jersey Mike's. The Italian sub from Jersey Mike's. I threw it to him. So now he was juggling his finances, his love life, getting beaten to death, and a great sandwich from Jersey Mike's.
Thanks for joining us on another Driving in the Rain with Eddie Pepitone.
Wow.
Man,
That felt good.
talk about juggling. You were juggling a lot of facts, wow. As a guy who says his memory is not that great, I disagree.
Well,
I mean, these sketches alone, I mean, I would be happy to put this in front of a psychiatrist and be like, this man's
I don't
mental
know
facility.
about that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a shrink may have a field day with a lot of these.
Yeah, he's like, he was able to remember a lot. You are correct. But the things he was saying were very concerning.
Yes. Those are very concerning, and we're going to have to admit them
Absolutely.
into a ward.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're just about hitting the moment here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do we want to say anything real quick, before we sign out here?
I don't know. I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety lately. Life throws a lot of things at you.
Yes.
And you got to roll with them, baby. You got to roll with them. It isn't easy to roll with things if you're not your friend. Yeah, and if you were treated poorly growing up, you have to have enough compassion to be your own best friend. You have to stop blaming yourself. Now, I'm not letting myself off the hook, but I want you guys to not blame yourself anymore for whatever you think you're blameworthy for, because unless you've killed somebody, and if you did, my hat's off to you there, because that's hard to do. But unless you killed somebody, you know what? We all make mistakes. We all go through things, and you have to be your best friend, because when life throws difficult things at you, you have to be your own best friend. So that's what I'd like to leave folks with today. And also, please donate to our Patreon.
Yeah, come check it out, $5 or $20, and you'll be letting us know that you appreciate us. And I think that's the baseline. We're also going to give you some stuff. You're going to get some apparel. We got some stickers. I saw one of our patrons got an Apocalypse Soon sticker recently. So they're out there, folks. They are out there. Go over to patreon.com/Eddie Pepitone if you want to donate to us and get this podcast the day that it comes out. We're also going to throw some exclusive Eddie Pepitone stand-up clips on there. And then we have some exclusive Patreon-only podcasts that we've done and plan to do many more in the future. Go to YouTube where we are creeping. We are creeping on 3,000 subscribers, folks. And you could be part of this ground level opportunity to get in at the ground floor here at Apocalypse Soon, a podcast that barely started 3 years ago. And we'd love to see it. Go over there and subscribe. Go to EddiePepitone.com if you want to see him in your town. He's leaving me, and you're going to benefit. So, hey, go check that out and get your tickets today.
And thank you once again for watching and listening, or watching or listening, or both. You know what I'm saying. Thank you for listening or watching Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside.